Joining us now on the Megacast is a board-certified naturopathic doctor who has earned a reputation in the Metro Detroit area as a leading expert on natural and alternative health. She's also the owner and the founder of Pet Beastro. Dr. Jill Tack joins us now on the Megacast. Dr. Tack, thank you so much for being with us today.
Of course. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk to us about your pet store here. It's called the Pet Beastro here in our local area, and you run things a little bit differently than maybe other pet stores might do on a traditional sense, really focusing on alternative and natural food options for our local pets. So tell us about Pet Beastro, what we should know about what makes your store stand out in Madison Heights.
Yeah, of course. So our original location is in Madison Heights, and I started the Pet Bistro based on some of my own pets' health complaints and issues. So I actually learned about some of these different raw feeding and feeding fresh food ideas a long, long time ago. I had a childhood dog, Yorkie, named Max, and while I was away at college, my parents found out that he had cancer. And they decided to take some alternative routes with him instead of doing conventional medications such as chemo and radiation, which, you know, there's a time and place for everything, but that was the route that my parents had decided upon. And they switched his diet to a raw diet, and we did some natural remedies with him, which extended his life greatly, more than our veterinarian actually thought that he would live. So that kind of catapulted me into learning more about pets and raw feeding. So I actually am a graphic designer by trade. I went to school for graphic design, came home from college and got a job in my trade. And then I got my first dog of my own, which was my husky, who was a big teaching experience for me. She taught me many, many lessons. And I started raw feeding her when she had health complaints. So that really got me in the mindset of helping pets naturally, which then just from there built on that. And here we are today.
So Pet Bistro, like many different pet stores throughout our local area, over the last several years, pet stores have had to kind of shift from being simply where you pick up food or other items that are needed on a day-to-day basis for your pets to being also including many services that help to benefit the pets as well. So what are some of the additional services beyond, of course, selling natural foods for pets and other items that you provide to the community?
Absolutely, of course. So as my journey expanded, I actually studied under Dr. Glenn Dupree, who is a homeopathic veterinarian out of Louisiana. From there, I went to naturopathic school and learned a lot of its human application. There's more available now about how to apply that to pets. So I've really extrapolated a lot of the information I learned from Dr. Dupree and naturopathic school to help pets. So I do nutrition counseling as well as just overall naturopathic services for pets. We do have advanced animal chiropractic that sees clients out of our spaces as well, so chiropractic care. And then we are hoping to add a couple new services here at the Warren location as well. Just aren't ready to announce those yet because we're still in some talks with folks, but we're looking to add some more naturopathic services as well.
Especially for dog owners, this is a time of the year where, especially in Michigan, they're really focusing on the activity of their pet, getting outside, getting them moving around, maybe helping them take some of the winter weight off that can also have, much like with us humans, have some other health effects that are more negative. But in terms of the food that you're offering, we know that over the last several years, there's been more and more information that's come out about how natural eating or more natural food-based products for pets can be really beneficial to extending their life in the long term. Can you talk about how that has changed over the last several years and just what, and elaborate a little bit on just how much of a benefit these alternative means, these more natural-based foods can actually have on the overall health of our pets?
Of course. So I think we hear this also in our human space too. They tell you to shop the perimeter of the grocery store, right? Or the produce section. And a lot of it has to do, that's very similar to our pets, except we don't have a produce selection per se in our store. So we actually have our raw food selection, and we really encourage pet owners to add some sort of moisture to their diet, or we call them hydrators, toppers, any way. Even at home, you could add some fresh vegetables. You could add a cracked egg on top of their meal. Anything that you can do to add some fresh food in does reduce chronic disease later on in life. So many of our pets end up with inflammatory diseases or cancers or, something more deep-seated and chronic. So anything you can do to prevent that is always beneficial. The one thing that we really focus on here at the Pet Bistro is we vet all of our companies. I want to know where the ingredients come from. We want to know where the sourcing of the protein comes from and the transparency of it. That is really important to us. And you don't always get that with some of these national brands because they're using it, sadly, as a conjunction to their what's left over maybe from manufacturing on their human food side. And processed food. It's a lot of really processed food. So how can you reduce the carbohydrates? How can you increase something fresh into your pet's bowl? That's very, very important. And that's really what we focus on here. We really also pay attention to each dog or cat individually, which, my favorite question is people come in and say, well, what's your best dog food? And I don't like answering that because I also want to know a little bit more about your pet. If I say chicken, chicken is the best dog food and your dog is allergic to chicken, I'm not doing you any service. I want to know more about your pet's individual concerns and health complaints to make sure that we offer something that would match what you need for your pet. So we really take an individualized approach to each pet too, but for sure adding some sort of fresh food. I think that's mandatory at this point in our life.
And for people that may not be familiar with what goes into traditional or pet food that comes from these bigger companies that we're often seeing in our grocery stores or in our big chain pet stores and so on and so forth, you mentioned that some of the sources, particularly for protein, are things that are offset from their human food production or may come from other means that are not so transparent in how they're tracked. But often, what are some of the bad things that we do see in some of these mass-produced pet foods that we're often seeing on the shelves in stores and in those big box stores as well?
Of course. So the main thing is a high carbohydrate load. And many times they're using corn, wheat, and soy to make that happen because it's an inexpensive way to get protein into the diet. And an inexpensive filler. So if we have that, usually that's when we start seeing digestive issues with our pets. Ingredients such as BHT and ethioxyquin, some of these are chemical preservatives that are known to cause cancer. So reducing some of those chemical preservatives, even the dyes, there's a lot of synthetic dyes, Kibbles and Bits, and some of these companies make their pieces look appealing by adding food coloring, which is not always the healthiest option. Sometimes, budget-wise, that's what's affordable at the time, but could you still take that food and still add a pet-safe bone broth, or could you add some pumpkin or fresh veggies on top of it to actually elevate what's in your dog's bowl? Those are all ways to actually kind of combat that. But we always like, to educate our customers, look at the ingredients. Can you read all the ingredients? Do you understand what they are? Because a lot of times they put, the further down the ingredient deck you get in the list, the more there's chemicals in there that you can't understand what they are. You need a dictionary or Google to figure out what it is. And when you get into that territory, that's when we start questioning, is this the best food? Is this going to give your dog longevity and health for the remainder of their life?
And how does that relate also to other products that we also have in our pets' lives, whether it be toys for our dogs and our cats, or beds, or if we're thinking about our cats, I'm thinking about my two cats over here just hanging out on a shelf at the moment, and their cat litter. How does that maybe apply to those products as well that also can have an effect on their health and on ours?
You're so right on that. I mean, just environmentally, if we're using chemical air fresheners, that can be detrimental. Our cats and dogs are very sensitive, and we don't always realize how sensitive they are. Even if your neighbors are spraying lawn chemicals, maybe you don't do that because you have a natural yard. But if you see them out in the neighborhood, shut the windows for the day. Try and keep that stuff out of the environment to protect your cat and dogs, their respiratory health, their overall health. If you go on a walk and you see there's a bunch of granules on the sidewalk, maybe they need a quick foot washing when you get home. But you're absolutely right. All of those things do make a difference. Even clean drinking water. I know that sounds silly, but nowadays our tap water isn't always the cleanest drinking water. Has a lot of chemicals in there that filter it and make it look pretty and clear. But sometimes we even need to do clean drinking water to help. We do have all natural flea and tick options. So if you're not into putting the chemicals on your pet once a month, there's something like that we can help with. We do have natural soy candles that we promote. So you really have to kind of do an assessment of your whole environment. And it improves your health too, right? It's not just your cat and dog, but it improves everybody in the house. So we really encourage everyone to take a look around.
Their website is thepetbeastro.com. That is thepet, BEASTRO.com. You can also call them 877-434-3436, 877-434-3436, or send them an email, info@thepetbistro.com. Find them currently in Madison Heights on John R. Road, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 8. And Sunday, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Joining us on the program is the owner and the founder of the Pet Beastro, Dr. Jill Tack, on today's edition of the Megacast. Dr. Tack, in addition to your Madison Heights store, you mentioned earlier on, kind of teased it, you're also opening another location very soon in Warren.
Yes, we are. We're super excited about this. It's been a long time coming, and we're just about there. A little bit more inventory to bring in this week. And of course we have all of our fun party planned. So I don't know if we should introduce that now or if you have more questions.
Go ahead and introduce that. Yeah. So if people want to mark their calendars, we do have come on down, check out our store.
Yeah. So we have a ribbon cutting this Wednesday, June 28th at 1 p.m. Anybody's welcome to come for that. We're hoping to have kind of like a soft opening this coming weekend. We'll make an announcement when we're ready to roll. And then July 7th, 8th, and 9th is our grand opening weekend. We're super excited about that. We're going to have some demo reps here. The Warren Canine officers are going to be here doing demonstrations as well. We'll have a food truck on Saturday. We have goodie bags with purchase for the first 300 people. That's about a $50 value. So we're super excited about that. Overall, for the month of July, we have about $30,000 in prizes to give away. So we have a couple main grand prizes. One for dog is winning a freezer with 3 months of free food. For cats, we have a 7-foot tall cat tree with about $100 worth of Stella and Chewy's cat food that goes with it. Those are our two main prizes. And then we have different ways to win 3 months of free food, a $200 raffle goodie bag, delivery services for a year. So lots of really, really great prizes for the month of July that we're super excited about.
More information can be found on their website, thepetbeastro.com, thepetbeastro.com. You can also learn more about their opening of their Warren location. Keep up to date with them on social media, on Facebook at The Pet Beastro, on Twitter at The Pet Beastro, as well as on Instagram at The Pet Beastro. More information can be found again on their website, thepetbistro.com. Joining us on the program today is the owner and the founder of the Pet Beastro, Dr. Jill Tack, on today's Megacast. Dr. Tack, a couple more minutes with you. Anything else that we haven't talked about your store, about the services that you're providing, or about taking a more natural approach to your pet's health that would be important for our audience to know?
I really think it just comes down to a mindset and understanding. A lot of pets, once they start, pet owners start adding natural food and finding and discovering things that their pets really like, they come back for more because they realize their pets really enjoy their meal at that point. Cats too, we tend to forget about our kitty cats. Cats do really well with adding moisture to their diet, especially cats that are prone to urinary issues. That is a huge problem for our feline friends. So anytime we can add something, canned food, it's always a great option because it's high in moisture. Again, any of the products in the freezer, goat milk, bone broth, kitties can have that too. The one thing that we're kind of excited about being in Warren is we do actually support the 4 Warren canine officers. So we actually feed about 12 different canine officers in Oakland and Macomb County, 4 of them being the Warren Warren Canine Officers. So we actually do a free feeding program for them along with natural health services. So we support them fully in any way that we can to make sure that their dogs are running and working to the best of their ability. So we're really excited to be in Warren. I'm also a Warren resident, so I'm kind of excited to be here in my hometown, having our store open up. We do have a lot of our customers come from this area, so we've got some great responses so far from our customer base that are excited to be over here. We actually deliver to all of Oakland and Macomb County, so we have same-day delivery. If you order by 11 a.m. on our website, our delivery truck goes out every day, Monday through Saturday. So we do have quite a few customers that we know from our database that come from this area, but we actually deliver all over. We go from basically Canton to Chesterfield, from Waterford to Grosse Pointe. So we have quite a large delivery area. If you are looking on our website and can't make it to Madison Heights anytime soon, we'll deliver right to your door. So you'll see our bistro van pull up to your door, and Catherine is our delivery driver and our shipping sales associate. So she is the one that does deliveries most of the days. But you might also see Lewis in the van, or Josephine, or Maddie. So we have quite a few of us that can go out and do deliveries in your neighborhood. So we're excited about that.
More information about the products and their services can be found on thepetbistro.com. Dr. Tack, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.